There's no way Disney's picking him up after his contract expires in April. They will let it expire, and that's it. Disney doesn't want this. Disney shareholders don't want politics. They just want they want entertainment. They want, and why would you want to allow 50 automatically, take, okay, there's 80 million voters that we don't want to watching our show. I think he's affected by the head writer, who's his wife, who's a liberal. That's
the head writer is his wife.
Yeah, that's way out there.
Jimmy Kimmel's wife.
Jimmy Kimmel.
No, I know, but the head writer for what? For the show?
Jimmy Kimmel show.
For the show,
Is his wife?
Did you see the podcast where he looked like he was a hostage by her over-liberal white anger and bitterness?
Over the past few months, Jimmy Kimmel's show has been taking hit after hit, and viewers have been wondering what went wrong. Stop guessing, because Rob Schneider just pulled back the curtain with a blunt take on the downfall. What he said was brutal, explosive, and far more intense than fans anticipated ever. Buckle up, tap subscribe, and jump right in now. First, here's Kimmel's wild theory, followed by Schneider's.
Something strange has been brewing in late-night television, and according to reports now circulating across entertainment circles, the tension surrounding Jimmy Kimmel's show may be reaching a breaking point. For years, Kimmel stood as one of the most recognizable faces in late-night comedy, delivering monologues that mixed humor with commentary, while millions tuned in night after night. But lately, whispers inside Hollywood suggest that the atmosphere behind the scenes is far from the polished image viewers see on screen. Now a new voice has stepped into the spotlight, and that voice belongs to Rob Schneider. In recent discussions that quickly caught fire online, Schneider shared opinions that many people say pulled back the curtain on what might be happening around Kimmel's show. According to circulating claims and conversations across media outlets, Schneider suggested that the show's direction has shifted so dramatically that it may have alienated a massive portion of its audience. Even more shocking are
my response to that is it's a really good warning to comedians and other hosts and other people who do shows that if you go too far down the conspiracy rabbit hole, or if you just get too politicized, and then all of a sudden you're not you're not in the funny business anymore. You're just in the it's politics, and it's it's really propaganda through comedic.
Rumors now spreading through entertainment news that Disney executives could be reconsidering the future of the program once contracts come up for renewal. Fans watching this unfold have been left stunned. Some say the criticism feels long overdue, while others believe the situation may be more complicated than it appears. Social media exploded with debates, speculation, and questions about what is really happening behind the scenes. Is this simply another Hollywood disagreement blowing up online? Or could there actually be deeper tensions building between networks, hosts, and audiences? And why are insiders suddenly talking about the possibility that one of late-night television's most recognizable shows might be facing its most uncertain moment yet? Interview 143/216. In the hours after Rob Schneider's comments began circulating online, the entertainment world started buzzing in a way that few people expected. Clips from interviews and podcasts spread rapidly across social media, and suddenly, people everywhere were debating the same question: what exactly is happening with Jimmy Kimmel's show? For years, the program had been a staple of late-night television. Viewers were used to the familiar rhythm of the show, the celebrity interviews, the comedy sketches, and the nightly monologue that often blended humor with commentary about current events. But according to conversations now surfacing across entertainment media, some insiders believe the tone of the show has shifted in a way that has started to create tension among audiences. Rob Schneider's remarks only poured fuel on that growing conversation. During a recent discussion that quickly caught attention online, Schneider openly shared his view that comedy shows sometimes risk losing their original spark when politics becomes the center of every joke. He did not claim to know everything happening behind the scenes, but his comments sparked a wave of speculation about whether Kimmel's show might be facing deeper challenges than viewers realize. As these discussions began spreading, fans quickly took sides. Some viewers defended Kimmel, arguing that comedians have always commented on politics and that satire has long been part of late-night culture. Others echoed Schneider's perspective, saying they felt the show had changed over the years and no longer delivered the same type of entertainment they once tuned in for. The debate quickly spilled across social platforms. Comment sections filled with thousands of reactions from viewers, sharing their own opinions about the direction of late-night comedy. Some longtime fans said they missed the days when late-night hosts focused mainly on lighthearted humor instead of serious political commentary. Others argued that comedy naturally reflects the times, and that modern audiences expect comedians to address controversial topics. While the public debate was heating up online, rumors about what might be happening behind the scenes began gaining attention as well. Several entertainment commentators started discussing reports that network executives were carefully watching audience trends and ratings. In television, numbers often speak louder than opinions, and whenever ratings fluctuate, networks tend to examine every detail of a show's performance. None of these conversations confirmed anything official, but they added another layer of intrigue to the growing story. The idea that Disney executives might eventually reconsider the future of a major late-night program quickly became one of the most talked-about rumors circulating in entertainment news. What made the situation even more dramatic was the way fans began analyzing every detail of the show itself. Viewers started revisiting recent monologues and segments, comparing them with older clips from earlier years. Some fans insisted the style of the show had evolved dramatically, while others argued the difference was exaggerated by
online debates. Inside Hollywood, the conversation reportedly became just as intense. Late-night television has always been a competitive space, where hosts try to balance humor, commentary, and audience expectations. When one show becomes the focus of controversy, it often triggers discussions throughout the industry about what audiences truly want from their favorite programs. Several media commentators suggested that the bigger issue might not be about one specific host at all. Instead, they argued, the entire late-night format has been undergoing changes as audiences shift towards streaming platforms, online clips, and social media content. In this environment, every late-night host faces pressure to keep viewers engaged while adapting to new viewing habits. Still, Rob Schneider's comments kept drawing attention because they touched on something many people had already been debating for years. Should comedy shows stay neutral and focus purely on entertainment, or should they openly address political issues that dominate the news cycle? During the same conversation where Schneider shared his thoughts, he acknowledged that Jimmy Kimmel is capable of being very funny. In fact, he even mentioned moments from the past when Kimmel's comedic timing and hosting skills impressed audiences across the country. But Schneider suggested that once a show becomes heavily invested in a particular political narrative, it risks dividing the audience that once enjoyed it together. That observation resonated strongly with some viewers, who felt late-night television used to bring people together regardless of their political views. According to those fans, older hosts often joked about everyone in the political world, rather than focusing on one specific figure night after night. Other fans completely rejected that argument. They insisted that satire has always targeted powerful figures, and that comedians often challenge leaders through humor. From their perspective, the criticism directed at Kimmel was simply part of the ongoing political divide playing out across media and entertainment. As these arguments continued spreading online, entertainment journalists began examining how the story was evolving. Some pointed out that rumors about contracts and network decisions often appear long before any real discussions take place inside television studios. In the entertainment industry, speculation can sometimes grow far larger than the actual situation behind closed doors. Even so, the conversation refused to fade away. Every time a new clip of Schneider discussing the topic appeared online, it reignited the debate among fans. Some viewers praised him for speaking openly about the direction of late-night comedy, while others accused him of exaggerating the situation. Meanwhile, people close to the entertainment world reminded audiences that television networks rarely make decisions based on a single controversy. Ratings trends, advertising partnerships, audience demographics, and long-term brand strategies all play major roles when networks evaluate their programming. That reality added another twist to the unfolding drama. If Disney executives were indeed paying attention to the online debate, they would likely be examining far more than one viral discussion. They would be looking at viewer engagement, audience loyalty, and the overall performance of late-night television within the broader media landscape. As days passed, the speculation only seemed to grow. Fans began wondering whether Kimmel himself might eventually respond to the criticism directly. Would he address the debate during one of his monologues? Would he ignore the controversy altogether and continue focusing on his usual segments? Those unanswered questions kept the story alive. Talk shows, podcasts, and online commentators continued discussing the situation, each offering their own interpretation of what might be happening behind the scenes. Some observers believe the controversy could eventually fade like many other Hollywood debates that briefly dominate headlines before disappearing. Others argued the situation might signal a deeper shift in how audiences respond to comedy that blends entertainment with political commentary. One thing was clear: the discussion sparked by Rob Schneider's remarks had turned a spotlight onto the larger world of late-night television. Fans were no longer just watching the jokes and interviews, they were analyzing the direction of the entire genre, questioning what they wanted from the shows they once watched simply to relax at the end of the day. As the conversation continued spreading across media platforms, the atmosphere surrounding Jimmy Kimmel's show felt more uncertain than it had in years. Speculation about the future of late-night television was now mixed with personal opinions, industry rumors, and passionate reactions from viewers on every side of the debate. And while no official decisions had been announced, the drama Unfolding around these discussions was already shaping one of the most talked about entertainment stories of the moment. The discussion surrounding Rob Schneider's remarks did not fade after the first wave of reactions. Instead, it seemed to grow louder with each passing day, as more commentators, fans, and media personalities started weighing in. Suddenly, what began as one opinion shared during a conversation had turned into a much larger debate about the direction of late-night television itself. People who had followed Jimmy Kimmel's career for years began revisiting how his show originally built its reputation. Many viewers remembered the earlier era when the show focused heavily on unpredictable comedy segments, celebrity interviews, and the kind of lighthearted jokes that made audiences laugh regardless of their personal views. Back then, the show was widely seen as a place where people could unwind at the end of the night without feeling pulled into serious debates. But according to some observers now discussing the situation online, they believe the tone of the program gradually evolved over time. As political conversations became more intense across the country, late-night monologues also began reflecting those tensions. What once felt like simple comedy began to mix more frequently with commentary about current events. That shift became one of the main points raised by Rob Schneider during his remarks. While speaking about comedy in general, he suggested that when entertainment becomes too heavily focused on politics, it risks turning into something different from what audiences originally came to watch. His argument quickly became one of the most quoted lines from the entire discussion. Fans immediately began debating whether there was any truth to that idea. Some viewers agreed that comedy shows should focus mainly on humor and entertainment. Others argued that comedians have always commented on politics, and that satire has been a part of late-night television for decades. The divide between these perspectives only made the situation more dramatic. Comment sections across social media platforms filled with long threads of viewers sharing their opinions. Some said they had stopped watching late-night shows because they felt the jokes were becoming repetitive. Others insisted they still enjoyed the shows and believed critics were exaggerating the situation. While fans argued online, entertainment journalists began digging deeper into the broader context surrounding late-night television. Several analysts pointed out that viewership habits have changed dramatically over the past decade. Many people no longer watch full episodes on television the way they once did. Instead, they watch short clips on social media or streaming platforms. Because of that shift, even small changes in audience engagement can trigger speculation about how shows are performing. Whenever ratings fluctuate or online reactions become intense, networks often monitor the situation closely to understand how viewers are responding. This is where another part of Rob Schneider's remarks began attracting attention. During the conversation, he suggested that networks like Disney ultimately focus on business realities when making decisions about television programs. From his perspective, if a show begins losing large portions of its audience, executives will eventually examine whether the program still fits their long-term strategy. It was that comment that sparked the rumor now circulating across entertainment discussions. According to speculation spreading online, some people believe Disney could reconsider the future of Jimmy Kimmel's show when certain contracts reach their expiration dates. There has been no official confirmation of any such decision, but the rumor itself quickly became a major talking point among fans. Suddenly, the conversation was no longer just about comedy styles or political jokes. It had expanded into speculation about the future of one of the most recognizable late-night shows on television. Media commentators began asking whether the debate around Kimmel's show reflected a larger shift happening across the entire late-night industry. Some observers argued that audiences today expect more variety in comedy. With so many entertainment options available online, viewers can easily move on if a show begins feeling predictable. Others pointed out that late-night hosts often face pressure to address political issues because those topics dominate the news cycle and attract strong reactions from viewers. Throughout all these discussions, Jimmy Kimmel himself remained largely focused on continuing his show as usual. Night after night, the program still featured celebrity interviews, comedy sketches, and monologues that address current events. Yet the debate happening outside the studio walls continued growing. Fans watching from home began analyzing every episode with fresh curiosity. Some wondered whether Kimmel
would eventually respond to the criticism directly during a monologue. Others believed he might ignore the entire debate and allow the conversation to fade on its own. Inside the entertainment world, people who had worked around late-night television for years started sharing their own perspectives. Some insiders reportedly said that disagreements between comedians are nothing new in Hollywood. Performers often criticize each other's styles or approaches, especially when discussing the role comedy should play in political conversations. Others suggested that the attention surrounding this particular debate was amplified by the internet. In previous decades, disagreements between comedians might have stayed within small circles inside the entertainment industry. Today, even a single remark can quickly reach millions of viewers through social media. This environment helped turn Rob Schneider's comments into one of the most widely discussed entertainment topics of the week. Clips from interviews continued circulating online as fans shared them across platforms, each time adding their own interpretations of what he meant. Some viewers focused on Schneider's argument that comedy should unite audiences rather than divide them. Others concentrated on his suggestion that certain late-night hosts might be losing viewers who feel alienated by the tone of their monologues. As these conversations unfolded, more comparisons began appearing between modern late-night shows and the hosts who defined earlier generations. Names like Jay Leno, David Leto, and Johnny Carson frequently came up in discussions about how late-night comedy used to operate. Many fans remembered how those hosts often joked about politicians from every party, turning the entire political world into a source of humor, rather than focusing heavily on one particular figure. Supporters of Schneider's argument claimed that this balanced style allowed audiences from different backgrounds to laugh together. At the same time, defenders of modern late-night shows argued that today's political climate is very different from previous eras. They said comedians are responding to the intensity of current events, and that audiences expect commentary about major news stories. The result was an ongoing debate that seemed to stretch across the entire entertainment landscape. What started as criticism from one comedian had evolved into a wider conversation about the role of comedy, the expectations of audiences, and the changing world of television. Through all the speculation, one fact remained clear. The discussion had placed Jimmy Kimmel's show at the center of one of the most talked-about controversies in late-night television. Whether the rumors about contracts and network decisions had any truth behind them remained uncertain. But the reactions from fans, commentators, and media personalities made one thing obvious. People were paying close attention to what would happen next, and every new development in the conversation seemed to add another layer of drama to a story that was still unfolding. The debate continued, spreading far beyond the original conversation where Rob Schneider shared his opinion. Television analysts, podcast hosts, and entertainment reporters all began dissecting the situation from different angles. Suddenly, late-night comedy itself had become the center of a much larger discussion about what audiences actually want from their favorite shows. Some commentators suggested that the tension surrounding Jimmy Kimmel's show reflected a deeper cultural divide that had slowly been growing for years. Comedy, they explained, often mirrors the mood of society. When public conversations become more intense, the jokes and commentary within entertainment sometimes follow the same path. Others believe the situation was more about audience expectations than politics itself. Viewers who had watched late-night shows for decades often remembered them as a form of escape. At the end of a long day, people would sit down, laugh at a few jokes, listen to a celebrity interview, and go to bed feeling entertained rather than stressed. In recent years, however, the lines between entertainment and commentary seemed to blur more often. Many late-night hosts began using their opening monologues to react to breaking news, political debates, and controversial headlines dominating the media. Some fans welcomed that change. They enjoyed hearing comedians respond to the latest events with humor and sarcasm. But others started saying they missed the simpler style of comedy that focused more on everyday absurdities instead of heated political issues. This difference in expectations became a key part of the conversation that followed Rob Schneider's remarks. People were not only discussing one host anymore, they were asking whether late-night television itself had changed in a way that might be pushing certain viewers away. While fans debated online, entertainment insiders
reportedly began discussing the business side of the television industry. Networks invest massive resources into producing late-night shows, and those investments rely heavily on advertising revenue and audience engagement. Whenever rumors about declining viewership appear, network executives naturally pay attention. That does not mean an immediate decision is made about a show's future, but it does mean analysts start studying trends carefully. Some industry observers pointed out that traditional television ratings have been shifting across the board. Even successful shows often attract smaller live audiences than they did a decade ago because many viewers now watch highlights online rather than full episodes on television. Because of that shift, it can sometimes be difficult to measure the real popularity of a program. A show might have fewer traditional viewers, but still generate millions of online views through clips shared on social media. This complexity added another layer to the rumors spreading about Jimmy Kimmel's show. While some critics claimed the program might be losing viewers, others argued that digital engagement around the show remained strong. Still, Rob Schneider's comments about Disney and contract decisions kept drawing attention. During his remarks, he suggested that entertainment companies ultimately want to appeal to the largest possible audience. From his perspective, any show that appears to alienate a large portion of viewers could face difficult questions when renewal decisions are discussed. That statement quickly became one of the most repeated lines from the entire conversation. Entertainment blogs and video commentators began quoting the remark while discussing whether networks truly prioritize broad appeal over strong opinions. Some analysts believed the idea had merit. Television historically thrived when shows attracted viewers from many different backgrounds. Others argued that modern audiences are more segmented than ever before, with different groups choosing content that reflects their own interests and beliefs. As these arguments continued, fans began paying closer attention to the way Jimmy Kimmel delivered his nightly monologues. Viewers who already supported the show said his humor remained sharp and relevant. Critics claimed they noticed a pattern where certain political topics appeared repeatedly in the jokes. The internet quickly filled with side-by-side clips comparing monologues from different years.
Some commentators insisted the tone had indeed changed over time, while others said the differences were exaggerated by critics looking for controversy. Meanwhile, people familiar with late-night television reminded audiences that comedians often evolve their material as the cultural environment shifts. What audiences found funny 10 years ago may not always resonate in the same way today. Inside the broader comedy world, other performers quietly observe the debate as well. Comedians often have strong opinions about the boundaries between satire, commentary, and entertainment. Some believed Schneider had raised an important question about how far political humor should go. Others felt the criticism overlooked the fact that comedians have always challenged authority through jokes. Another unexpected twist appeared when older clips of Rob Schneider himself began circulating online. In some of those interviews, he discussed the importance of comedians speaking freely about their perspectives, regardless of whether audiences agree with them. This created an interesting dynamic within the debate. Supporters of Schneider said he was simply exercising the same freedom comedians have always used to critique the entertainment industry. Critics responded that his comments were fueling unnecessary speculation about a show that continues to attract millions of viewers. While these conversations unfolded across media platforms, the atmosphere surrounding late-night television seemed to grow increasingly intense. Every small development sparked fresh commentary from fans and analysts alike. Some observers began asking whether the controversy itself might actually increase curiosity around Jimmy Kimmel's show. When a program becomes the center of public debate, viewers sometimes tune in simply to see what all the discussion is about. Others predicted the situation would eventually calm down once the online arguments lost momentum. In the fast-moving world of entertainment news, one controversy often replaces another within days. Still, the central question remained unresolved. Was this simply a temporary clash of opinions between two comedians, or did it reveal something deeper about the changing relationship between comedy, politics, and audience expectations? For viewers watching from home, the story continued unfolding like an ongoing drama within the entertainment industry. Each new interview, each new reaction, and each new rumor added another layer to the conversation. And as the debate carried on, fans across the internet kept asking the same question. If the discussion surrounding Jimmy Kimmel's show continues growing this intense, what kind of impact might it eventually have on the future of late-night television itself? As the debate stretched into another wave of online discussions, something interesting began happening inside the entertainment world. More commentators started stepping forward with their own opinions about late-night comedy, and suddenly, Rob Schneider's remarks were no longer the only voice shaping the conversation. Radio hosts, media analysts, and even other comedians began discussing the situation publicly, each adding a new perspective to the growing drama. Some of those voices argued that late-night television has always gone through cycles of change. Decades ago, hosts like Johnny Carson dominated the format with a calm style that relied heavily on storytelling and playful interviews. Later generations brought different energy to the stage. David Letterman introduced a more experimental approach, while Jay Leno focused on rapid-fire jokes that could make audiences laugh within seconds. As the years passed, each new host added their own personality to the format. Jimmy Kimmel built his reputation with unpredictable humor and creative segments that often went viral online. Fans still remember many of those moments, from humorous street interviews to elaborate comedy sketches that turned ordinary situations into hilarious spectacles. Because of that history, many viewers found it surprising to see his show suddenly become the center of such heated debate. Some people insisted the criticism being directed at him was unfair. They pointed out that Kimmel has hosted major events, interviewed countless celebrities, and remained a prominent figure in late-night television for years. Yet the controversy continued to grow because the conversation was no longer limited to Kimmel's performance alone. It had expanded into a larger argument about the role of comedy in modern media. Whenever a late-night host comments on politics, reactions tend to be strong, and those reactions often spread quickly through social media. During one particularly lively podcast discussion, a commentator summarized the tension in simple terms. He said that comedy used to bring people together around shared laughter, but today audiences sometimes watch the same joke and interpret it in completely different ways depending on their own views. That observation resonated with many listeners who felt entertainment has become more polarized in recent years. Fans on different sides of the debate often watch the same monologue but come away with opposite reactions about whether it was funny or offensive. While these arguments played out publicly, speculation about network decisions continued circulating behind the scenes. Entertainment reporters began examining how networks historically respond when a show becomes the center of controversy. Sometimes a controversy fades and the program continues unchanged. Other times, networks quietly adjust their strategy based on audience trends. None of those possibilities were confirmed in the case of Jimmy Kimmel's show, but the rumors alone were enough to keep fans watching closely. Some people believed the network would stand firmly behind the host, regardless of online criticism. Others wondered whether executives might eventually encourage a shift in tone if they felt the debate was affecting audience numbers. The uncertainty surrounding these possibilities created a sense of suspense across entertainment media. Each new episode of the show was analyzed more carefully than usual. Viewers listened closely to the opening monologue, looking for any sign that Kimmel might address the controversy directly. So far, the show continued moving forward with its usual rhythm. Celebrity guests appeared, comedy sketches aired, and the studio audience laughed just as it always had. But outside the studio walls, the conversation about the future of late-night television refused to quiet down. Another unexpected twist came when some media analysts began discussing the broader competition facing late-night programs today. Streaming platforms, online creators, and independent podcasts have dramatically changed how audiences consume entertainment. Years ago, late-night hosts were among the few voices offering nightly commentary on culture and news. Today, millions of viewers can watch comedians on video platforms at any time of day. This new landscape means traditional television shows compete with a much wider range of entertainment options. Some analysts suggested that this competition might be influencing the style of modern late-night programs. Hosts sometimes focus on viral moments or controversial jokes because those segments spread rapidly across social media, reaching audiences who may never watch the full episode on television. That theory added another dimension
to the conversation surrounding Rob Schneider's remarks. If late-night shows are trying to remain relevant in a digital world, they may experiment with different types of humor and commentary to capture attention. Fans discussing the situation online offered their own theories as well. Some believed the controversy was being exaggerated by media outlets looking for dramatic headlines. Others argued that the debate reflected genuine frustration among viewers who feel entertainment has become too politically charged. Throughout all these discussions, one reality remained clear. The story had taken on a life of its own. What started as one comedian sharing an opinion had grown into a full-scale debate about comedy, culture, and the future of television. Even people who rarely watch late-night shows were now hearing about the controversy. Clips from interviews continued circulating across platforms, often accompanied by headlines suggesting that the entertainment industry might be facing a major shift. Some observers believed the attention could ultimately benefit Jimmy Kimmel by drawing more viewers curious about the discussion. Others predicted the story would eventually fade as new entertainment controversies captured the public's attention. Yet there was still a sense that something important was being debated beneath the surface. Audiences were not just arguing about one show or one comedian, they were asking deeper questions about how humor should function in a world where politics, media, and entertainment constantly intersect. In the middle of all this noise, both supporters and critics of Kimmel agreed on one thing: late-night television is evolving, and the expectations of audiences continue to change with each passing year. Whether Rob Schneider's comments would ultimately influence that evolution remained uncertain, but the conversation they sparked had already become one of the most talked-about moments in the entertainment world, leaving fans everywhere watching closely to see how the story would continue unfolding. As the debate continued gaining momentum, the conversation around late-night television began shifting from simple disagreement into something that looked more like a full-scale cultural discussion. Media outlets started framing the situation as a larger question about whether the entire late-night format might be entering a new phase. Some analysts pointed out that the landscape of entertainment has changed more in the past 10 years than it did in the several decades before that. Audiences no longer rely on television schedules the way they once did. Viewers can now choose from endless online content, watch comedians on demand, or follow personalities who broadcast directly to their audiences through digital platforms. Because of that shift, every traditional television program faces new pressure to stay relevant. Producers constantly search for ways to capture attention in a crowded media environment. Sometimes that means creating bold moments that spark discussion, while other times it means adapting to new viewing habits that focus on short clips and viral segments. Within this environment, the attention surrounding Jimmy Kimmel's show suddenly looked like more than just a disagreement between two comedians. It had become part of a wider conversation about how entertainment evolves when audiences themselves are changing. Some industry observers argued that controversy has always played a role in television history. Whenever a show becomes widely discussed, whether through praise or criticism, it often draws even more curiosity from viewers who want to see what everyone is talking about. Others warned that constant controversy can also create fatigue among audiences. When entertainment begins to feel like another extension of political arguments, some viewers simply tune out and look for lighter content elsewhere. These contrasting viewpoints kept the discussion alive across media outlets. Podcasts dedicated entire episodes to analyzing the debate. Television commentators invited guests to share opinions about the role of satire in modern comedy. During one discussion, a media analyst summarized the situation in a way that captured the attention of many viewers. He explained that late-night television once acted like a national living room where people from different backgrounds could laugh together. Today, the same format exists within a much more fragmented audience, where different groups often expect completely different styles of humor.
That observation echoed the argument Rob Schneider had originally raised when the controversy began. His suggestion that comedy risks losing its universal appeal when it becomes too closely tied to one perspective continued circulating through countless discussions. Yet supporters of Jimmy Kimmel remained equally vocal. Many fans pointed out that comedians have never been required to stay neutral. Throughout history, humor has often challenged
Powerful figures, questioned public narratives, and reflected the tensions of the moment. From that perspective, they argued that criticism of Kimmel might simply reflect how divided audiences have become in general. In an era where nearly every topic sparks passionate reactions, even a simple joke can quickly turn into a heated debate. While these arguments continued online, viewers noticed that Kimmel's show carried on much as it always had. The studio audience still laughed at the monologue, celebrities continued visiting the show, and segments designed to entertain viewers still appeared throughout each episode. But the discussion surrounding the show refused to disappear. Each new interview, each new comment from media personalities, and each new rumor about network decisions kept adding another layer to the unfolding story. Fans watching from the outside began wondering whether the controversy might eventually lead to some kind of public response from the host himself. Would Jimmy Kimmel address the debate directly during a monologue one night, or would he choose to ignore it and continue focusing on comedy? For now, the answer remained unclear. In the entertainment industry, silence can sometimes be a strategy of its own. Many performers prefer to let controversies fade naturally rather than amplify them by responding directly. At the same time, the curiosity surrounding the story seemed unlikely to vanish overnight. Whenever conversations about television ratings, network contracts, and audience reactions begin circulating, speculation often continues until something new captures the public's attention. As weeks passed, the entire situation started to feel less like a single disagreement and more like a snapshot of the challenges facing modern entertainment. Comedians, networks, and audiences are all navigating a world where humor, commentary, and culture intersect more intensely than ever before. In the middle of that shifting landscape, the debate sparked by Rob Schneider's comments continued to raise questions that many viewers had already been asking quietly. What kind of comedy do audiences truly want today? Should late-night shows focus on lighthearted entertainment, or should they address the serious topics dominating the headlines? There may never be a single answer that satisfies everyone. Audiences are diverse, and their expectations of entertainment vary widely. What feels refreshing and honest to one viewer might feel frustrating or repetitive to another. For now, the only thing that seems certain is that the conversation about late-night television is far from over. The discussion surrounding Jimmy Kimmel's show has become part of a broader reflection on how comedy evolves in a rapidly changing media landscape. And as long as fans, commentators, and entertainers continue debating these questions, the story will keep unfolding with new perspectives, new opinions, and new speculation about what the future of late-night television might ultimately look like. So after all the reactions, debates, and speculation that have been swirling around this story, one thing is clear. The conversation about Jimmy Kimmel's show has become far bigger than just one comment from Rob Schneider. What started as a single opinion quickly turned into a full-blown debate about comedy, television, and the expectations audiences have for late-night entertainment. Some viewers believe the criticism highlights a real shift happening inside the late-night world, while others say the rumors about Disney, ratings, and future contracts are simply speculation that often appears whenever a show becomes part of a viral discussion. The truth is that in the entertainment industry, stories like this often grow quickly because fans are deeply invested in the personalities they watch every night. Right now, there are still many unanswered questions. Will the conversation eventually fade as new headlines take over the entertainment world? Will Jimmy Kimmel ever directly respond to the growing debate surrounding his show? Or could this situation signal a bigger change happening across late-night television as audiences continue to evolve? Fans across social media remain divided. Some are defending Kimmel and saying his style of comedy is exactly what modern audiences expect. Others say Rob Schneider may have pointed out something many viewers have been quietly thinking for a long time. But now we want to hear from you. What do you think about the reports and reactions surrounding Jimmy Kimmel's show? Do you believe the rumors about networks reconsidering the future of late-night programs could have any truth behind them? Or do you think this is simply another Hollywood controversy that will eventually fade away? Drop your thoughts in the comments below because your opinion matters in this conversation. And if you enjoyed this breakdown and want to stay updated on the latest entertainment stories, make sure you like this video. Subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you never miss the next update. We will continue bringing you the biggest Hollywood debates, shocking rumors, and stories that everyone is talking about. Thanks for watching, and we will see you in the next video.